Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 981. Tonight, some stories from the trenches and 4 listener emails covering ForecastAdvisor, the Adobe Helvetica font issue, finally put to bed here, and a great email finally addressing Microsoft Authenticator and backing it up, and then a shocking revelation for a website about Microsoft Teams and what they're doing, and you should be aware of this. So let's get started. And first, I'm recording tonight like an hour and a half earlier than normal because my son Ryan is going to be arriving tomorrow. His older brother's picking him up in Philly at 3 o'clock. I think the plane takes off at 5. He lands here at 8. So I have to be up, ready, and down at the airport to pick him up at 8 o'clock. Then we're going to breakfast, and then we have a Phillies game because remember, it's now spring training time, and so most of my afternoons when the Phillies are at home, I am at games. So can't wait. The first game was home game was Sunday, and man, it was chilly because of the winds. And I was at a game yesterday, today, and then there's going to be a game tomorrow. Also have to mention my place in Pennsylvania outside Philadelphia received 14 inches of snow over the weekend. So I'm so glad that I have a service that can take care of that. And I know that by the extreme invoices that I receive for paying for that. So it's costing a fortune for snow removal this year. And I just hope everybody is safe who listens to the show. And hopefully you're able to deal with this and not get hurt and stay safe and stay warm, stay dry. As I record this, it is 74 degrees down here in Florida, and I'm just loving every minute of it. So let's get started. So some in the trenches. This one surprised me. So a client who I actually mentioned before, he was sick and then had to go to rehab and he's a CPA. He has a Windows 10 main workstation that he just can't afford to upgrade, and we're just not upgrading it. He needed and was able to get the latest download for QuickBooks Desktop that he had to put on his system. And when it installed, it said, this is an unsupported operating system, but if you would like to continue with all the risks that are implied, type yes. And then QuickBooks installed. I hadn't seen that. I'm really glad we didn't have to stop and convince him to have to purchase a new system. I really didn't want to go through the trick to upgrade because this is an older desktop. I didn't want to go through any issues with that. And so I'm just glad he's running and, doing what we can. There has been a terrible Windows 11 peer server sharing issue. I don't know if you've ran into it, but my son and I tried everything till, I don't know why we didn't do this first, but it was after a Microsoft update, but I was trying to work around it and not remove the updates because I think we're going to be hit with this again because we paused it for 30 days. He removed the 2 updates, but he didn't record the knowledge base numbers, but there were 2 updates from February. If you were going crazy with sharing, and we're trying to just map the drive to the shared machine, it will not take the credentials, even though they are absolutely correct. This is a bug. This is a problem with one of the Microsoft Windows 11 updates, and it's just horrible. We did everything, and I mean anything you could possibly conceive of and think of with all the network settings. We did a registry edit, a group policy change to try to get this to nothing. He removed the 2 updates. Everything worked. So there were 2 February updates, removed them. That was it. Okay. So let's get to the emails, and let me, right now, I'm bringing up the first one is from John Dubinsky. And you know, he hit us with a lot of great sites from last week. And I'm going to demonstrate this site in a minute. But he says, not sure, or if you would use this one, but I learned something looking into it. The site is ForecastAdvisor.com. On this site, you stick in your location and it spits out the weather for you. Nothing new, but that's not the interesting part. Below the forecast, it reports the top 3 weather APIs that provide the most accurate forecast for your area on an ongoing and historical basis. Example, Apple Weather, the app, uses the Weather Kit API. In my location, ForecastAdvisor does not report this as the most accurate. Unfortunately, Apple does not allow you to choose the Weather Source API. So why care? And what can we do? If the most accurate forecast is important to you for work or some other reason, you have options. Now I'm going to pause there for a second because weather is very important for Marvin B. Uncle Marv, because of hurricanes and storms, and him with so many clients in South Florida that he has to take care of, and he is very in tune. As a matter of fact, we did a couple shows about that with all the apps that he uses, and I use them as I'm here in Florida. So sometimes weather is important, and he continues, this is good. You can switch to another weather app. Hello Weather, Mercury Weather, or Current Weather are the best paid options in my opinion. That allows you to pick your weather source, the API the application uses to provide weather information. For example, in Tampa, Microsoft, Google, and Forecast, the APIs provide the most accurate results. If you were using Hello Weather, for example, you could choose Foreca, F-O-R-E-C-A, as the API the program uses, and it would now produce the most accurate results for the location. If an accurate weather forecast, perhaps for those baseball games, see, a nice tie-in to spring training here, is important to you or to anyone, this might be information that is useful. John, of course, always great sites. And I am going to share my screen, and let's put this up here. And this is ForecastAdvisor.com. I'm going to put my 34677. I'm going to put my zip code in, and there we go. It is a high of 77. So tomorrow it is moderate rain showers because we got the Phillies game tomorrow. So I have to take a look at what time is that going to happen. So as we come down here we got Oldsmar Forecast, the Weather Channel, Microsoft, and Forca. Temperature, average change in low temp day to day is 4 degrees the last 12 months. Precipitation, average change in high temp, 3.1. And here, so this is the site that John recommends. It will be the first link in the show notes. John, thank you very much. Let's keep going. So now, Jason Miller. This is a great email. Hang with me on this. This is the definitive answer on backing up Microsoft Authenticator. And Jason, thank you for taking the time to outline this. Mike, to migrate Microsoft Authenticator correctly, you need to set up a personal Microsoft Live account. in the settings, configure this personal account to perform backups. While it's frustrating that Microsoft doesn't allow this with business accounts for some strange reason, especially since most users have business accounts, this is the required method. Once you've backed up the data, you can restore it on a new phone by following the reverse steps. Afterwards, all your usual authenticator codes will appear. For Microsoft 365 accounts, you need to sign in again to enable two-factor authentication. This process involves your old phone still working so that when you sign in on your new phone, the old phone will pop up the prompt like normal. And once you enter the number from the new phone on the old phone's prompt and approve it, this gives you the ability to get the prompts on the new phone. You can now use your new phone to prompt you for future logins. Once you complete the sign in on the new phone, you can wipe your old one. Now, I'm going to pause right there. This still poses a problem for me because I was going to trade that in, which means I can't have both phones at the same time. And then, you mean I got to do this for 30 clients? I still think that's crazy, even though I know this is it, but I don't like it. He continues, this is a common issue that arises when customers get new phones from providers like Verizon or AT&T without consulting us first. They often wipe their old phones and trade them in, which complicates the setup process without the ability to prompt sign in. You'll need to go to their Microsoft 365 settings, navigate to security, and reconfigure Microsoft Authenticator. This is a hassle. Yes, I agree, and we have to do this all the time when someone gets a new phone. The real challenge occurs if they use the authenticator with many MFA tokens and didn't have a backup. To avoid such issues, we recommend Keeper Security. This cross-platform solution manages all passwords and MFA codes, ensuring seamless functionality even when switching phones. So that's interesting. Then the only MFA code you need is Keeper Security. Bonus tip. Besides Microsoft Authenticator, you can also set up the traditional MFA codes in Microsoft. So I do this and store it in Keeper Security. This way, I have a backup way to log in. For the Keeper MFA token, I store a printed copy in our safe that I can scan and get back in if needed. This way, if your phone dies and you have the one MFA token that is needed to get to everything else in your password manager. That is great. Yes, and Steve in the chat, fantastic authenticator backup tip, but frustrating with how difficult Microsoft makes it. I concur 100%. And Jason, thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so now, if you remember a couple weeks ago, my client has the Helvetica font issue, and the workaround was just opening up Adobe DC Pro and just leaving it there, and then he could open the PDFs. So, Kate took the time and did a lot of research, a lot of work here, and I'm going to have all the links in the show notes. Don't worry. Hi, Mike. I was confused while listening to episode 980 when you said you couldn't find Helvetica in Windows 11. I thought, that can't be right. But the reason you can't find it, as it happens, is that it's a licensed font. The license changed hands, and Microsoft is not inclined to pay a royalty for every computer or copy of Word it sells. Arial is what I always used when I knew I was writing for my Mac using friends because it looks similar. Coincidence? But today I found something called Nimbus Sans L, which is free and apparently an adequate replacement for Helvetica. There is quite a lively discussion, and I have the link to the Reddit forum that she's talking about. And like most Reddit discussions, it's easy to get distracted, but maybe something in there will help. And of course, you or your client can always purchase the actual Helvetica, and she has 2 sites, and I picked one for where you can buy it. I think it's like $20 or something. And then a super interesting Wikipedia article on Helvetica, its variants and imitators, and that is for the Wikipedia. So what I'm going to do now is display my screen, and here is the Reddit forum. The real free version of Helvetica is Nimbus Sans L, and link in info is here. So I'm going to have that. I have to try this and see if the free one works and solves his problem. Now here, it's not 19, it's $39. This is where you can purchase Helvetica, and this is at myfonts.com, and it's the Helvetica font, and you could just purchase that. And for $39, if you have this error, that's going to get rid of it. Might be worth it. And then here's the history of Helvetica, which is also known by its original name, Neuve Grotesque. Grotesque is a widely used sans serif typeface developed in 1957 by Swiss typeface designer Max Mittinger and Edward Hoffman. If you want to know the history of Helvetica, this is a great article. So, Kate, thank you for that answer, and hopefully now putting these topics to bed. So I want to thank everybody who's followed up with this and everything, especially Kate and Jason. Thank you so much. And John for that site. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's great having smart people who listen and are able to respond when I run into problems or issues, or just contributing. It's super. So Kate also sent me a link to this, and this is a PC World article. Microsoft Teams will soon snitch on your location to your organization. So think about this. So now I don't mind. My clients know I'm in Florida, but if I'm in a Teams meeting and maybe that client I didn't tell, they're going to be able to see that I'm in the Tampa area and I didn't say that they could publish that Teams could. Teams should allow you to opt out of that option. I 100% disagree with any software that's going to give any kind of identification without your permission. I completely, wholeheartedly disagree with what Microsoft is doing here, and I hope that they change their mind and decide not to include this feature, or at least the ability to opt out. I don't like it. I don't like any software that gives our information and does anything like that without our permission. I don't have the shame bell sound that I want to, anybody who knows this, shame on Microsoft for doing this. And let's hope that they see the error of their ways and not do this. So you can see the article of when this is going to roll out and everything from PC World. Kate, thanks for the heads up on that. And especially things like that. I want to, so let's think about this. And this is not the only reason, but let's say you're an employee you called in sick, and now you decided to go to Atlantic City because you're in the Philadelphia area, or you're going to Wildwood, you're going to one of the beaches, and you take the time to make the teams meeting, and they see where you're at. You know, that's just one funny example. I don't think they should be given the location. What if it's a company? You know, companies are going to stop using Teams. Think about this. When their tech support wants me to use Teams and communicate, and maybe this company is supposed to be in New York, and now the person's in India, and now I can see that they're in India, or they're not in this country, or they're in Canada or Mexico, or who knows where they're at around the world. I'm going to be able to see that. And even though I would like to, I shouldn't have the ability to see that. So I will, I will fight to the death and scream at the top of my lungs on the tallest mountain for your right to criticize me, because that's what free speech is. That's what the First Amendment is. And even though I may disagree, that's fine. You have the right to say that and to disagree. So that's just a fundamental thing that I deeply believe in. So anyway, that is it for tonight's show. I got such a busy, I got to get up very, very early tomorrow. I still got some work tonight. Since the end of the month is almost here. I mean, this is the last show of February. I can't believe that Sunday is March 1st, having the short month here. I got to get invoices out, and I want to do that before, my son gets here, because it's just going to be nonstop. I got so much to do. So I have a ton of stories from the trenches. I'm not sure what's going on. I know I have a Phillies game next Thursday. I got to see what we're doing with Ryan and myself and my wife. I don't know. So I just, follow me on Facebook, Mike Tech Show. Go to MikeTechShow.com, and I will post up what's happening next week. So I really don't know. I don't know. If there's going to be a show, it'll probably be at 7:30. I don't know. I may postpone. It won't be Saturday. I know that for sure. I'll probably skip it next week. Let's see what's happening. Maybe I can work something out. Maybe get Ryan to join me on the show. So let's see. But that's it. Don't forget to follow me on YouTube and subscribe to the video. Michael Smith, MTS. Really appreciate it. All the show notes, you never have to write it down while you're listening or watching the show, because you could just go right back to MikeTechShow.com. Show notes are always there. This is show 981, and that's it. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for emailing me. Thanks for your donations. Thank you. And everybody, have a great week. Have a safe week, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.